there. Uh, a couple days ago, I made a video talking about my excitement for Silk Song release. And in that video, I said I will talk about Hollow Knight's original story, so people can track along with whenever I start rambling about Hollow Knight and Silk Song, what I'm talking about. Uh, I wrestled with the idea of where to start. And do I just get like the important bits out and then I spread out, or do I start at the beginning of the game timeline itself and then spread out so you like go along with it? And I think that is the best like route. It's easier to digest because if I start at like the core and then I spread out, I'm gonna have to like keep a bunch of pointers and mental notes of, okay, I need to come back to this or I need to come back to that. So Hollow Knight starts with this mysterious little guy walking up to this abandoned kingdom. And you show up with nothing but a sword and yourself. That's it. You have nothing more. It's just a sword and you walking into this kingdom. And you find this old bug just standing there at the edge of the kingdom, and he explains to you this used to be a great land. But then something happened, and it drove the residents insane, and now all that remains are just mindless beasts. So we dive down and we start exploring. We realize that all the other bugs look exactly like the old man. They're people, they're residents. But unlike him, there's no thoughts, there's no words, there's no voice. It's just mindless violence. So you kill them and you make your way and you fall into this trap and you realize that not everyone has lost their mind. There are some people here, people who have core beliefs, things that they hold on to. They keep their sanity. You travel and you find this little guy. His eyes are hazed, his head is spinning, but he's not yet gone. So you snap him out of it and you realize that there's something corrupting the people in this land. You make it to, I want to say it's the main city. It's the original main city of the kingdom. They call it the City of Tears. You make it there and you run into Hornet, another character in the game that seems to be very relevant because she's been stalking you. Well, more of you've been following her and she's been watching you from afar. And she tells you that this land used to be a great land. We used to have somebody called the Pale King that came to this land and gave all of the insects, all of its people, self thought, personality, reason to exist outside of just existing. But something happened, and now the Pale King is gone, and everyone is losing their mind. But she pleads with you to turn back. She says, something bad has happened to this kingdom. But if you keep going down this route, something worse will happen to this kingdom. You ignore her heed and you keep exploring. You keep exploring, you keep exploring. And then eventually you find this moth. Moths don't believe in the Pale King. Moths believe in something called the radiance, the light. The moth teaches you something called a dream nail. This is a nail that allows you to see into the core essence of other people. With this nail, it now tells you you have a new mission. There's something in this land that's big and bad and it's sealed away. You need to unseal it and defeat it. So you get up, you go out, and you start exploring. You find these sleepers, these core people that gave up their lives. So how it works is they're called sleepers because they put their consciousness into a deep sleep, and as long as they're asleep, their minds can focus on keeping the seal closed. And there's 3 of them scattered all over the kingdom. So as long as they're asleep, their consciousness can focus on keeping the seal closed. But now you're going and you're attacking them. You're killing their consciousness. You're going into their mind with your dream nail and you're killing their consciousness. So you're breaking the seal. So you go from 1, you kill the first one, you go to the second one, and after you kill the second one, you find Hornet sitting right next to you. And she tells you that these 3 people were once great scholars, great powerhouses, great influences in the kingdom. The first one you killed, he was a great scholar. The second one you killed was a deity of sorts for the spider people, and it was her mother. And you go and you find the third one, and you realize they were like a princess to the green area. I don't want to say it's a swamp, but it's a pretty area. I wish I could explain it better than it's just a pretty green area. You defeat them, but in defeating them, you release something on the kingdom. Each time you break one of the seals, like you kill one of the sleepers, the kingdom gets more and more infected with this weird orange taint. Now that you've defeated all of them and the entire kingdom is just possessed with this orange taint, you go down into the abyss. You're looking for answers. You're looking for reasons to why this is happening. This is where you find a first shard, a shard of the king. And now you need to find more answers. Why is this here? So you go to his wife, the pale lady, who's hidden away. And she gives you the second half of the shard, and she tells you her and the pale king made a gamble, a deal. She will mother his children. And when I say mother his children, I don't mean just 10, not 20, not 100. No, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of eggs. He wanted children because he needed vessels, large quantity of vessels, and him being a worm, which I didn't explain before. The Pale King is a worm, and not WORM worm, WY, like he's a worm in the sense of he is a god in this world, this universe. He is a deity of great power and great influence. And when he found the kingdom, he shedded his worm, his like physical form, his god form, to take on a form that looks more like his people. He looked more like them, smaller, but something that he couldn't shake was his immense power. His power was so strong, he physically glowed a pale white light, and that's why they call him the Pale King, because he just physically exerted that much power that he was constantly glowing with this pale radiant light. But now that we know he's a a god, and the pale, the white lady. I'm not sure exactly what she is, but she's hinted to be of like a demigod, like a of descent. So she conceived children upon children upon children upon children upon children for him. Side note, I said that we killed Hornet's mother. We came to learn in this point that Hornet's mother made a deal with the Pale King. Well, all of the sleepers did. The first sleeper made a deal with the Pale King to allow his subjects to keep experimenting on people. We don't know just how much the Pale King was aware of these experiments. I would like to believe he knew all of it, but I can't be for sure. The Hornet's mom made a deal with the Pale King. She wanted an heir to her throne. She wanted somebody that can keep her lineage alive as a weaver. Because that's what they call the people that can weave silk. Silk is another term for your soul. People that can take soul energy and weave it into a thread. Okay, I'm getting into a lot of complicated terms now, so I'll kind of dial it back a little bit. But Hornet's mom said she wanted a child, so her and the Pale King did the boom shakalaka, and that's how Hornet was born. So Hornet is the daughter of a weaver who is considered like not a god, but is up there in like the power scaling because they're one of the few races that can actually directly interact with one's soul. So she's the child of a demigod and a child of an actual god. Same with all of the little babies that the white lady and the pale king made. So anyway, you learned this information from the white lady, and this is where you decide, okay, I need more answers. I am going to go down into the abyss, into the area that the the pale king put all of the eggs. And you go down there, and this is where you learned. You learned that the pale king made these hundreds of thousands of children, and he trapped them down at the bottom of the abyss, infused their eggs with abyss. Abyss is this black gooey substance that drains the life force out of things, but it doesn't just drain your life force like it's killing you. No, no, no. It replaces your life force with itself. You become a part of the abyss. So what the Pale King did was he put his eggs into the abyss so that the eggs, when they hatch and the children are born, they're born soulless. They're born hollow. They have no thoughts. They have no feelings. They have no wants. They know nothing. They are nothing, just a vessel. And he put them on the bottom of the abyss and then made a platform so that the strongest one, the bravest one, the one that wants to make it to the top of the abyss, only that one he will take up. Now, I want to say he took multiple out, like whichever one, anytime one made it to the top, he would take it and try to train it to be a vessel. Now you're gonna I keep saying this term vessel. You're gonna get what I mean by vessel in a second. So now that you know what you are as the knight, you are a hollowed being. You want to understand why. So now you make your way to the king's palace. The king, at the point in time, watched his kingdom go to ruin and didn't know what to do or how to stop it. So in his mind, the only way to save it is to save who he can and himself. So now the king, in all of his power, took his castle and put it inside one of his guards' mind. So he took his castle from the real realm, warped it into a dream, and inserted it into one of his guards' head and sealed it away so that nothing can get in. But remember, we have been powering up this dream nail that allows us to go into people's mind. So now our dream nail is so powerful it allows us to break the seal and get into the palace. So now we're in the palace, and there's this disgusting, nasty, long platforming stage called Path of Pain. Yes, it is unironically called Path of Pain. But what is trapped behind it is the truth. The truth of there is this thing called the radiance. Remember, I spoke about that with the moth that they were worshipping. And the radiance is sort of like an infection. The more you worship it, the stronger it gets, but it corrupts your mind and pulls you into this hive mind of just you are nothing but a slave to worship the radiance. And the Pale King, realizing that people are succumbing to this, needed a way to stop the radiance. But how can you stop people from dreaming? How can you stop people from wishing? How can you stop people from worshiping this thing that corrupts your mind? So he thought that if he made a being that is hollow, that has no thoughts, no feelings, no wants, no needs, no emotions, that the radiance has nothing to feed on. And if he can put the radiance inside of the hollow's mind the same way he did with the palace, and then he sealed it away, he can stop the radiance from infecting his people and corrupting his land. So now you see where it comes in. With the sleepers sealing. So the sleepers are the one who sealed away the radiance inside the mind of this Hollow Knight. The Hollow Knight being one of his sons, which made it out of the abyss, and he took him and then groomed him into a soldier that can fight anyone emotionlessly and be a tool to trap the radiance in it. But there was one flaw with this. During his time with his father, there was one mission that he succeeded in, and his father said, well, he didn't say anything because we didn't see what he said, but you know, in the vision, he looked down at him all proud and nice and gave him like a soft nod and then looked up. And then the Hollow Knight, as a kid, gently leaned into his father. Like, you know, it's like a gentle, good job, I'm proud of you. And that was the first thought that corrupted the Hollow Knight. The feeling of love, the feeling of acceptance, the feeling of wanting to make your father proud. And the radiance fed on that. Fed on it, fed on it, fed on it. And it lasted a while. The seal lasted quite a while, but as time passed on, the seal itched weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and the radiance started dripping out of the Hollow Knight. So whether we broke the seal or we didn't break the seal, eventually the radiance would get out. But us breaking the seal and going on this journey gave us enough power as ourselves, because now we learned that we are children of the Pale King, children of a god. But we also learned that we are children of the abyss, children of this ancient power that nobody really understood. And we go up and we enter the mind of the Hollow Knight, and we fight the Radiance. We fight the Great Light. And depending on like how you went about the story, you can get multiple endings. You can get one ending where you beat the Radiance and you become the next Hollow Knight. You become the vessel of the Radiance, and then you get resealed. Then there's a second ending where you beat the Radiance and you kill the Radiance using the Void. But in this ending, you release the Void upon everyone and everything. And then there's the final ending where you shed all of your worm godliness and embrace the godliness of the void, and you become the herald of the void. You become evil itself. Oh right, in the second ending, when you kill the Radiance, you die. Like, you kill the Radiance and you die as a result, because your affinity with the void isn't strong enough to keep you alive. So in the first ending, you seal the Radiance in yourself. The second ending, you defeat the Radiance, but you die. And then the Hollow Knight that was sealed away wakes up and is completely insane. His mind is gone, and he goes on just killing everyone and anything. And in the third ending, you become the herald of the void. You become void itself. You become a new god in that reality, and you corrupt everything in void itself. The endings are left open to your own interpretation, to which one is the correct ending, which one is the good ending, or which one is the bad ending, or which one has bittersweet feelings to it. But yeah, that's like a very basic rundown, because there's a lot more to the game. I didn't touch on the mantis. I didn't touch on the slugs. I didn't touch on the crystals. I didn't touch on the actual stuff with the weavers, because there's a lot to them. I didn't touch on the actual stuff with the people touching soul, or what even soul is. I didn't even touch on like the pantheon or like godhood, because there's a lot to it. Yeah, this is like a general rundown of Hollow Knight for anybody curious about it, or want to play Silksong and don't want to play Hollow Knight. They just want to go in and get like a general idea of it. Okay. I've been waffling for like 20 minutes now. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll release like an actual ASMR video, not tomorrow, because technically tomorrow this is being released. Well, technically today, tomorrow, in the next video. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, bye bye.